Casey, it's a spicy one today.
Ooh, somebody break out the ranch dressing.
So I need to knock this out before we get into it, just so that I can keep, playing games in this town. So I played a couple of games last week, and I got the heads up that one of my opponents had done some shenanigans at during some previous games, some previous events.
Shenanigans were declared.
And so I was on the lookout for said shenanigans. Being that I don't have a whole lot of passive in my aggressiveness, I was totally prepared to set this person straight unless they were just totally dedicated to being a rapscallion. And it turned out that perhaps he had heard or whatever, but it was a lovely game. There were no infractions. There was no cheating going on whatsoever.
It was just a mistake.
No, I don't know. But my experience was that it was a very lovely game, and this individual did not cheat. He did not do anything untoward, but
he could have.
And it was lovely. But that got me thinking, as I was leading up to that game, thinking like, look, I gotta play daddy. That's the right thing to do. I gotta help my fellow hobbyist, my fellow wargamer.
Abadaddy.
Put them on the path to goodness and fun so that they, like us, like me, Shane, and you, Casey, here at 40K Fanatics, can enjoy the hobby to its maximum. But we'll get to that in the main topic on cheating in the hobby, what we think about it, ways that you can do it, ways that you need to look for it, and why you shouldn't. And maybe a little bit of the psychology of why you might in the main topic. But first, I have to tell you about the worst movie that I've ever seen in my life.
Oh boy. That's right. You went to go see a movie with your significant other last night.
And also with the homie Austin and his significant other. So we did double date.
Oh.
And we went and saw the movie It Ends With Us.
I never heard of that.
It is a book. And it's one of those, like, it's one of those middle-aged, upper-middle-class white women books. This movie...
the kind the ladies at the Lions Club read?
This movie is a ham-fisted, vacuous foray into the trials and tribulations of generational domestic abuse.
I'm going to look through your stuff for a word encyclopedia or like one of those rhyming dictionaries to see where you're pulling out all these fancy $10 words.
That's a thesaurus you're looking for.
Yeah, thesaurus. There you go.
Look,
thesaurus. There you go. It's another $10 word.
Look, we've done it as a bit of a spoof sponsorship, but I do have 9 mystery novels available on Amazon. The David and Trait mystery series. Go and check them out. They're really cheap. You can buy them on ebook.
And he'll ship them to you himself.
Well, no, Amazon will ship them to you. They'll print. if you want a physical book, they will print one up and ship it to your house. And it's very lovely. It's called Print on Demand. So you can, you guys can lambast my literary creativity in the same way that I'm crushing this movie. But there are parts to this movie that either the filmmakers are horrible at making films and telling stories, or the movie is entirely a misdirect, a wolf in sheep's clothing, a Trojan horse.
An M. Night Shyamalan.
An M. Night Shyamalan for real of a hugely more problematic story. Which would be, spoiler alert, that this woman is not actually abused, but she is delusional.
Ooh.
And she is enamored with victimhood.
Ooh.
And it is destroying all the relationships in her life and always has been.
I like movies like that.
Now, that's if you're paying attention and reading any level of subtext whatsoever.
Okay.
What the movie appears to do is just say, beating women bad. And we know that.
Oh, is it one of those?
Well, it would be better if it got real preachy, but it doesn't. It's the worst movie I've ever seen.
I'm all for a message within a movie, but don't just put the message out and get rid of a story.
Yeah, there's something to like. Message is good. We're here for message.
At least put some effort into the metaphor.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like,
I'll have to watch this movie now.
Make a story worth telling that has a message. Would it kill you? Anyway, I digress. That has absolutely nothing to do with 40K.
Birds of Prey movie right here.
With miniature hobbying. So let's get to some miniature hobbying and open our bits box, where we talk every week about what we did in the hobby this week. Lead us off, Casey.
Okay, so this week I played a game of 40K. I went toe-to-toe with my Dread Mob in 2K against a tip-of-the-spear detachment of pure Space Wolves. It was rough. Man, it was like watching two prize fighters trading shots.
Did you intentionally make a dog pun by saying it was rough?
I didn't. That was an accident, and I'm glad that you caught that.
You just stumble into genius comedy by accident.
No, it was just watching, like I said, just watching two prize fighters trading shots back and forth, Rock'em Sock'em Robot style.
Yeah, not a lot of shooting going on in that game.
Oh, there was, actually. Like, he brought 3 squads of Devastators. I brought my Dread Mob with all my Killicans and everything. I popped a Land Raider like turn 1, which like never happens. Man, I think the only thing about Space Wolves I have to criticize is just the Thunder Wolves being so tough.
Yeah, there's a little bit of cheese to be had in Space Wolves. You played a guy that usually brings cheese, right?
I think so. I'm not sure, but Thunder Wolves. Man, he gave him storm shields, and no matter the amount of AP I put into these guys, they auto have a 2-up save and then a 4-up invuln, and I think like 6 wounds. So no matter what I did, the toughness was a little all right, but it was just like chipping away at a tree with a sledgehammer.
In the lovely game that I played, where no cheating happened, but it was being looked for, the Corn Lord of Skulls is still yet to get into combat.
Ooh.
He's got a couple of fights now.
Still waiting on that first game curse.
Still waiting just to kind of get him stuck in.
There you go.
He's done some shooting and things like that, but otherwise he's just kind of rolled around.
Eager to see how that turns out.
Played Judge Dredd this week.
You did. Look for the photos on our social media page.
Judge Dredd was fun. We did a bank heist, played at the house against homie Valerie. She had a gang of miscreants coming to take my stuff. She held back. She had a plan, but the problem was, Judge Dredd is a very narrative type of game, so what she ended up doing was letting me fight 2 separate fights.
Yeah.
And so I was able to dispatch her first wave and show them the ways of the law and righteousness. And then
did you tell her you were the law?
Many times. Told her to respect the law.
Respect my authority.
I took my little Utilibot, which is a street sweeper robot, and it went and charged bravely headlong into her warbot for most of the match, which was funny, just because it's hitting her with cans and vacuum attachments.
While Rob Schneider hides inside.
Rob Schneider hides in a robot in this 90s action comedy.
Gonna make a couple South Park references today.
In hobbying, I'm putting the word out.
Word is out.
A warning to all of my future opponents. I am bringing the cheese, the cheesiest cheese. You're not ready for this. You have no counter. I shall win from now on with my fortification.
Really?
Yeah. I bought used, but new. It was secondhand.
New on sprue.
It was new on sprue.
Doesn't count.
Noctilith crown. Built it. Got it painted. Did quite a few processes that I've never done before. Got some rusty patina, some rust and patina on there, some verdigris and whatnot here and there. And just really had fun with it because it's just a big old honking piece of girder,
Nice.
and it looks nice. Once I got it done, I thought it's a little too clean, so I went back through and sponged on some black all around the rim of the thing because it was just a big silver circle.
And again, the photos are on the socials, folks. Go check them out.
Yeah, go check it out. I've got a little bit of skull and chain pieces that I need to dry brush some silver onto and dirty up appropriately and glue on, and then it'll be done. And the homie Dallas said Shane's going to be the first person that he's seen in real life play a fortification. And I will.
I'm eager. I kind of want to see.
I don't even know how
no one plays Hammerfall bunkers.
Nobody plays a fortification. I don't even know how you deploy it. I think it just has to be in your deployment zone.
You know,
which
orcs have a fortification model.
I think it got legend, right?
It did, but that's wild, right? Can you imagine?
Yeah, no. Well, that thing was hugely problematic because there was a lot of little pieces. It's the orc. What is it? Scrapyard?
Mech Boy shop.
The Mech Boy shop. And what people would do is they would use it to like block movement because you could sort of put a little piece here and a little piece there and a little piece over that way.
Yeah, it wasn't all one piece.
Yeah. The Noctilith crown is still in the codex for the Chaos Space Marines, and it's pretty straightforward. I mean, it's just a big honking, four-legged girder.
What does it do?
Not much.
There you go.
It offers cover. Okay.
It just looks pretty.
It gives +1 leadership in a 9-inch aura, which I guess it'll be in my deployment zone. I'm pretty sure that the fortifications just deploy in your deployment zone like anything else. So
yeah.
It'd be neat if they had maybe 6 inches out or.
I know with like the big head boss bunker that they had for the orcs for a while, they were like using teleport or rapid ingress or like to deploy them. And like in the middle of the board.
Really?
Yeah, it just like 20 boys would get out with buffs while getting shot by the stomp ahead and getting war boss aura extended out.
Interesting.
It's crazy.
Yeah. So it does +1 leadership, and it's got some 6-inch range lashing tendrils.
Nasty.
Which will kill some Space Marines.
Bet.
There are no doubt. And I guess you can't deep strike within 9 of it, so it's a big old footprint in my deployment zone. Mm-hmm. But also, it's targetable. It's got a 3-up save, no invuln. I think it's toughness. It may be toughness 13. I think it's really tough. But it's either I think it's either got toughness 13 wounds or like toughness 11, 13 wounds, or maybe it's 13. I don't know.
Iron Lord, save us from Shane, please.
But it's also only 125 points. It's cheap as chips. Why did I get it? Because I have a collection that I'm making. It's cool. And I'm going to run it. You know I'm going to run it. I'm not necessarily trying to win. It's going to look cool. It's going to be silly. I'll tell you one thing. You're going to know which one's my deployment zone halfway through the game, unless it dies turn 1.
Iron Warriors. I'm sorry. I said Iron Lords. Iron Warriors. I'm off today, folks. I'm off.
Iron Within.
And Iron Without. Iron Warriors, save us from Shane. Can I finish mine?
Go ahead and finish yours.
I finished Karn, Eater of Worlds.
That's a book.
Yes, by Anthony Reynolds. Really good book. Right before, it was literally right after Siege of Terra and before Karn got his name as the Betrayer, leading up to that moment. So it was really cool. A lot of world leaders, a lot of Emperor's Children, smash and grab, cool.
We've never done Karn, so he was just a world leader dude? Or is he somebody?
Ooh, he is. Ooh, 1,000 fans just screamed at you. Yes, he is somebody. He is a chosen of Khorne, and we will get to him one day.
Yeah, so next week I want to do, we might as well include it in the bits box as this is up till now, unless you guys go buy a lot of my books off that plug earlier, davidandtrait.com or on Amazon, David and Trait, that's Trait. This podcast is a bit of a hobby because it don't make no money yet.
Yeah, all you Thousand Sons fans, hit up Shane for those books.
Yeah, but Next week, I want to do a rebuttal pod because the homies who I don't actually know, but would like to. They seem like really fun people. The Trapped Under Plastic podcast guys,
yeah,
Miniac and Ninjon, they did an entire pod on what they hate about Warhammer.
Yeah,
which the internet loves.
Apparently,
the algorithm loves to hear what you hate about the thing that you really love.
Oh yeah, if there's one thing that can spread on the internet, it's negativity.
That's right, and boy, do we have some today. You're here because you saw the title and you want to know. Ooh, share the stuff. Anyway, I want to do the opposite. I want to talk about the things that I like about Warhammer. I want to stump for the Emperor because I think that people miss the point of the thing, but that is another pod entirely. As far as my last bit of hobbying, this week I plan on doing a full ball sack Night Lord kill team leader dude.
Nemesis Claw.
Yeah, whatever the heck he is. I primed him, so
nice.
It's about to go down. But I'm going to make very small lightning. There will be inks. There will be airbrush spray. There will be all manner of things to make him quite dramatic. At least that's the plan.
Ave Dominus Nox.
But that is my bits box.
Last thing I have to say, Blood Angels had a huge reveal this week that I totally called. If you're paying attention to our social media, Sanguinary Guard and the Sanguinor got updated. We got a Primaris Sanguinary Guard and a new fleshed out Sanguinor. Sanguinor looks great, but I was tricked, deceived. At first I thought that the Sanguinary Guard looked amazing, but then I noticed, why aren't there any photos of the backs of these things? You know why?
Why?
They don't have wings.
No, they've got jump packs with little wings.
Little wings carved onto the jump packs. I mean, come on. And the helmets are like all head, no crown.
I like them.
I hate you so much right now.
I like them better than the old ones.
Shut your mouth.
So, first of all, is Sanguinor a person or is he a rank?
Sanguinor is like the Saint Celestine to the Blood Angels.
Okay, so Sanguinor is a person.
Yes, but they don't know who he is.
So
shows up at the 11th hour and saves the Blood Angels when they can, and helps them navigate through the warp.
Interesting. I saw an interesting thing. I forget who it was on Twitter, but they were like, I like these little wings on the back of the jump packs, and I like the idea that at some point in history and literature and sort of the codexes and like the mythology of the Sanguinary Guard, those little wings got turned into actual wings. And I like that. I like that as like the headcanon of why these are not actual wings. They're just jump packs and they got little wings on them. But, as the game of telephone and the Sanguinary Guard came, they had wings on their jump pack. And somebody said, the Sanguinary Guard came on wings. The Sanguinary Guard came they were just gold dudes with wings. They were angels.
Yep.
And it's like, well, they're just sort of dudes. Yeah. Except Sanguinor. He a real one.
Oh, yeah. You don't even know, sir.
Also, I've seen some hate for these heads of the Blood Angels and the Sanguinary Guard, and you people, I don't know what you like.
It's the old sculpt, okay? They're too spoiled on the old sculpt. I am too. It's just they look drastically different with proportions.
I'm talking about the helmetless heads.
I do like helmetless heads.
There are people that are up in arms about those helmetless heads, and I don't know how to please them. If you don't like those dudes, I don't know what to tell you.
But that's it for my bits box, you filthy degenerate. Let's close that up and move on to our main topic.
Let's close it up. All right, cheating is bad, okay?
And a podcast.
Yeah, that was it. All right, so, like I said...
That's our third South Park reference, by the way.
Yeah, someone should be keeping count. Maybe Austin will put a little Kenny running across the Or maybe Kenny taking a bullet every time we do that. Get on that, Austin, on the YouTube edit. He won't do that. He's going to be like, I didn't have time to listen to this one.
Well, I mean, they did have 40K in an episode of South Park.
So, booked a random game.
Yep.
As I do in the group chat, then somebody else hit me up and they're like, yo, so-and-so, because I'm not going to name any names. That's where I think is rude. And also, like I said on the front end, it ended up being a lovely game. No shenanigans whatsoever. But heads up came through of dice fudging. Of like, and I'll move to part 2 of my little notes that I've made here. Different ways that people cheat. Let's talk about that real quick. So dice fudging is saying, rolling 10 dice, grabbing them up pretty quick, and being like, I got 6 hits when you only had 4. Right? Dice fudging is when you're picking out your lethals or your sustained, and if you knock one over and it rolls to 6, you say, there's another one.
Yeah, I hate that.
That's sort of like that second example is sort of like cheating, as available, right? What are some other ways? Rules misrepresentation is one that people do. Now, we're going to pause and we'll get into that because this one's worth talking about, okay? So, anyway, the heads up was for dice fudging.
Yes.
Specifically, rolling too fast and picking them up quick and saying you had the number. Now,
or putting them in, rolling them under terrain.
Yeah, that kind of thing.
Where your opponent can't see them.
Yeah, that kind of thing drives me nuts. This guy had a dice tray. Everything's fine. Again, I could see into the dice tray. He flipped the open side to me. Like, there was no issue whatsoever. I cannot stress that enough because I would like to keep playing games in this town. And I don't want the local community
to run you out.
Well, just to think, like, we can't play Shane because he's going to make content out of everything we do. I don't want that.
Yeah. We're not here to at people, folks.
No, not what we're doing here. But it's worth a good discussion because there are some of these folks that I hear about at like big tournaments, like national tournaments. Tactical Tortoise and Tactical Trevi on X and on YouTube tends to cover these a lot. And some of these dudes are diabolical. Okay?
They're clever.
I mean, they're not even clever.
Ooh.
They're just diabolical cheaters. And rules misrepresentation. Let's go ahead and get into it.
Bold strategy, Cotton. Let's see if it works out for them.
Man, all right. So there's one chunk of the 40K community that wants all the rules to be available for free on the internet, and they want to do away with codexes. And I've got a whole pod on why I don't want that. I like the idea of you got to pay your $60 to get your rules. Okay? Get in the comments and tell me why you hate that, but I'm going to tell you that I like that, and I'll expound on that at another time. But one of the reasons why they advocate for this is that they think it'd be good if everybody had access to all the rules. That way everybody could know all the rules of everyone all the time and no one could cheat. Now that sounds great until you realize that you're not likely to keep all the rules of every army in your own damn head. And they're like, well, but then I could look it up. Listen, if you play a game, you have to bring your rules, the current rules, with you somehow. Print them up, get them on your phone, because if you bought the Codex for Orcs, then you've got all the Orc rules updated on your phone. See, they've already thought of this. Now, if you do some stuff and I'm like, say what? Because let's be honest, guys, if it feels like it's totally broken, it's either totally broken and means to be, or somebody doesn't know what they're talking about. Okay? And so what I do is I'm like, let me see.
Yep.
There was this dude at a tournament. Again, this is coming from a Tactical Trevi video. It was quite good. But this guy was actually playing Orcs. And he had Gazgul and Mega Knobs in a truck with the hard case and the big cannon on top.
Mm-hmm.
And if you look at the truck, it says this thing can transport so many dudes, Gazgul and etc. count as so many.
Yeah.
And then the very last sentence is, if you have the Ardgase and the whatever, then it drops the transport capacity down.
Yes, that's true.
This
Ooh, was he playing it at full capacity?
This dastardly man
Oh, no.
was reading that to people and stopped reading at the last sentence.
Ooh.
Now that right there is commitment to rapscallianism, okay?
Yeah.
So here I'm gonna give you real.
I've got opinions on this.
I'm gonna give you a real game. What you do, what I do,
yeah,
is I say, "Let me see it."
There you go.
And I encourage everyone to say, "Let me see it." If something feels funny, let me see it. Let me read it for me. Hand me your phone and let me look. Yes. Hold your phone up to my face and watch me read this out loud. That way you know when I'm done.
Watch me work.
Yeah, hey, and here's another thing. If they flash it up there and pull it back, no. Let me see it again. Hey, I didn't read that. Give me back. What are we doing? Like, this is an easy one. Rules of misrepresentation. No.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes, you can forget your rules. It's common. It happens all the time. Be sure, because like what happened with the feel no pains and everything with the Mega Knobs, I forgot that all the time. I make sure that somebody's there to correct me, or if I have the rules on hand, correct myself.
I'm getting to that too.
Dude, that is some outright nefarious
skullduggery.
Stuff. That's some Night Lords fighting right there.
All right. The very next thing I've got, because let's be honest, those are pretty much it. Now, the toughness characteristics of things, if you're out here saying that some's toughness 6 and it's toughness 5, I tend to think that most people that any of this is going to matter for are going to have a clue that random foot soldiers are toughness 4.
Or 5, yeah, we're close.
Or in your case with the Orcs, 5.
5, yeah.
They're the only army I can think of that are toughness 5 for their random dudes that run around, and that's because they don't shoot. Now, if you rocked up and said, these Orcs are going to hit on 3s, they're going to fight on 3s, toughness 5, I'm saying, show me.
Yeah.
Are you sure?
And we've literally had games where I've showed you my rules.
That's right, because it's not hard. It's not rude. It's totally reasonable.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to keep straight your entire codex.
Exactly.
I'm playing pickup games, guys. I don't, and I think a lot of people are.
It's casual.
I don't know
We're filthy casuals.
That's right. I don't know what faction you're bringing until you show up. Like, I know you, Casey, is bringing Orcs. Pretty soon, Blood Angels. But when I pick up, when I get in the local group chat and I'm like, who wants to play Saturday at 1? Whoever says I'm in, I don't know what they're bringing. I find out when they show up. And in fact, I take it a step farther. I make sure not to ask. Because I like the surprise. And I like not crafting a list to make any sense. And sometimes I get, a good matchup, and sometimes it's a total debacle. And that's okay, because it becomes its own challenge of, oh no, I'm playing knights and I didn't bring any tanks today. Let me see if I can fight my way out of this paper bag. Now, here's some cheating that we're all guilty of. And this one, we need to set aside from a commitment to skullduggery and the state of being a rapscallion.
Pocket sand.
Our own rules mistakes. So, I'm going to come clean about my own cheating. I played a few games of 10th indexed where I had Abaddon leading Chosen because he got advanced charge and shoot.
Right.
I believed that he could, of course, he could lead Legionary, Chosen, Terminators.
Yeah.
Right? Makes sense. Mm-hmm. He's the War Master.
And that was what you were doing in 9th.
And yeah, and in 9th, he would always be around them. You couldn't attach anybody. But at some stage, like, I feel like his, I've got the physical cards. One of them fell down upside down. I'm like, That doesn't say chosen.
You saw leader.
That's right. He can't lead chosen.
Can't lead chosen.
So I'm like, dang, I've been cheating.
I remember that day. You were upset.
I was like, man, I've been cheating. I've been out here cheating.
You've been doing people dirty.
Wholly unintentionally. Now, it's not like I was winning any more or less than ever, because honestly, he's better with the Terminators. Now, one caveat to that particular bit of cheating is that the Codex came out, and now he leads Terminators and Chosen. I don't think he can lead Legionnaires. I would have to check, but
I could.
Well, I think that they might have swapped it around. I'll look. You tell me a way that you've misrepresented your rules by legitimate accident.
I will mention a time that is not that far ago. A story about a guy I played at a tournament. It wasn't a local tournament. I drove to go to do this one. It was a 2K. We played a game. There wasn't very many people. The tables were small. We were very close. I played the guy. And then, like you said, I went, and he was playing it was Grey Knights, I believe. And very elite army, you swing and knock something off the board, it's going to hurt him bad. But he was swinging so hard, it was redonkulous. He had I'm pretty sure what it is, a Legends model now. And I'm being vague on purpose, folks, because I don't want to add anybody. This guy was using this really niche model, coming at me with this rule that was just devastating my army, just absolutely crushing me. Finally, like halfway through the game, I said, show me this rule. And he's like, oh, yeah, it's right here. And I was like, okay, that doesn't apply to him. That applies to other units or your army, something like that. And this thing is like not the same classification. So he's like, oh, man, I'm sorry. Proceeds to play the game fair. Not that big a deal. I didn't care. It was just a local nothing. But, remember, I said the tables were really near each other. He proceeded to play 2 more games in this 2K and then got called out. Hey, man, what are you doing? He just told you about this.
Yo. See, that's commitment to some skullduggery.
So 3 games in a row.
That's wild.
It was like an hour away from where we live. It was crazy. I could not believe this guy.
Yeah, see that right there. You gotta excommunicate that dude. Like he's got him.
And it could have been just him being in that pattern of using that too much that it would become second nature. But if you've been corrected many times.
After somebody says that's not it, you got to go look at it at least.
Yeah,
but in your case,
make a mental note.
Once it had been looked at, you definitely can't be like, yeah, I'm just going to, on the same day with the same group of people. You can't, come on, man.
Yeah, it was,
fool me once.
I felt bad for the dude.
By the way, Abaddon. Codex, current Abaddon, cannot lead Legionnaires, just Terminators and Chosen.
Well, there you go.
What it was is I wasn't cheating or mistaken. I was seeing into the future, and it was bright. Also, I have not ran him with anything but Terminators since the Codex has come out. Which
makes sense.
I don't know why, because honestly, that advance in charge, very handy.
It is.
All right, so we've talked about the 2 ways that the cheating really happens. The dice manipulation, which is a lot of times sort of what's the word I'm looking for? It's like spontaneous, maybe. Because now I want to get into sort of the psychology of why somebody would do this stuff. Like, if you've got your rule wrong and it ends up advantageous, but you didn't mean to, then that's something that we as a community need to be like, hey, that feels crazy busted, or I'm not sure about that. Show it to me. Totally fine. No foul in my opinion. If you're misrepresenting on purpose, then that's crazy. If you're manipulating dice, we got to talk about why. Obviously, why do people cheat? They want to win. But I don't think that these are games that make a lot of sense to want to win. And I know that this is a controversial opinion that I have, because go back and listen to our old podcast of Stop Playing Competitive 40K. It's not a good competitive outlet. I get on this so many times. The more we standardize terrain layouts, the more we tune our lists for maximum rerolls, the more we whittle down the amount of mission types that we play, the more known quantities that are added to this, and the more dependability of outcome that our lists yield, the worse the game is. It is my opinion that a game like 40K, if you are going to leverage all these synchronous abilities to reroll every die, to be able to math out exactly output of everything against everything, the less good the game is. Because I believe it becomes less about your tactical acumen at that point than it does spikes in dice math, which can be very spiky because it's only a D6 system. Now, when you re-roll, you cut that you cut that in half. But still, somebody can just have a really hot day of rolling saves, because those tend to be the ones that are not re-rolled, and you lose. And you didn't lose because your positioning was wrong, because we've created these scenarios where where these paintball field terrain layouts, the positioning is only one, there's only one right answer. The matchups become so rote that there's only one right answer. Like, this unit is going to shoot into that unit every time. It's the only option that makes sense due to the dependability of the math. And if then we've got this thing whittled down and distilled down to such a dice game, then I guess I can see how somebody would start wanting to tip over a 5 to a 6 or roll real fast.
It's the stress.
It's the stress of the thing. It's the stress of the thing. But I don't think
you put too much on it.
Yeah, you're absolutely putting too much on it. And for what? There's no money in it.
There you go.
If you're a member of a damn team and you guys all pull models to build these lists and you go to these things, by the time you pay for a hotel, by the time you pay for the trip, by the time you pay for the cases to get the models there in one piece,
are the bragging rights really worth it?
And you win whatever. What is the cash prize? Is there even a cash prize?
Yep.
The time, the reps, the crap that you've had to buy, paint, even, I mean, my God, if you pay a painter, like, it doesn't make any sense. You would be better off playing your local club golf tournament. Because the store credit that they give out is higher than the stuff you get at these Warhammer tournaments.
Yeah,
Stop doing it.
Yeah.
It is not what... Winning is not what this game is for.
Exactly.
It is for... Honestly, you know what it's for, Casey? It's for non-athletic people to play their version of smart kid pickup basketball.
I mean, speak for yourself. I'm athletic.
I am too. And
golf doesn't count.
I'll wear you out on the tennis court too, bro. Smoke you. One-handed backhand, looking like Roger Federer. Anyway, but maybe that's where we come at it from. This is we've got other outlets for whatever sort of competitive nature we have.
It's a hobby.
It's a hobby. Games Workshop say that they are not a games company. They are a model company. And when I do my TED Talk of why I think that the rules should be in book form and that you should have some skin in the game and paying your $60 to get them, I'll expound on these ideas of what that means. But number one, we know that cheating happens in these things, and we know that people do pay their money to go to places and play these tournaments because maybe they are in it for the hobby and they just like taking a trip, right? That's a totally legitimate thing to do.
Yeah.
And if you come up against one of these people and something seems wrong, make them show you. Make them show you immediately. Take the phone from their hand and look at it. If they've got something typed up in a phone note, say, no. Find me the real thing. Because depending on their commitment to the bit, they might have gone above and beyond and prepared a falsified document for you. These people need to not have any games played with them. Okay? They messing it up for everybody by just being that guy. Like, look, we already have that guy in every community that brings the most cheesy tuned list to the most casual of games.
And everybody knows who it is.
Yeah, well, I mean, and they blow you out. And
his name is Shane.
It is not. It is not Shane. It is not Shane. They blow you out in 2 turns, and it's like, man, what did I even pack my stuff up to come out here for?
Right.
If I'm just going to get stomped into the ground. Like, we've already got that in the hobby of people that we don't want to play very often.
Or your dice rolls just betraying you the whole game.
I mean,
and then you get your head kicked in.
Well, see,
either scenarios.
Yeah, but I mean, that's a different thing because you and I can bring rule of cool lists and I can not roll a single hit or a single save and get my head kicked in as if you brought, the power cheese.
Are you talking about you or you talking about me? Because
I was talking about me that time.
You roll 6s and 5s like it's going out of style, sir.
I know it's never happened to me, but I just thought
steal your dice.
I just thought that I'd be kind there, but you know what?
It's never you.
That's right. You're terrible, Casey. You're
rough.
You're terrible, and
at least I try.
You're terrible, and you should quit because you can't win.
Oh man!
See how that feels dumb?
Exactly.
It's not what it's about.
Yeah, I go in to mess things up and have a good time.
Guys, if you find somebody committed to skullduggery, exercise them from the whole community. Like, talk to them about it. Be like, bro, you are tripping.
Be fair.
That's not what we're doing.
Have a man-to-man fireside chat.
If they're like, nah, bro, I'm winning. It's like, well, not against us any longer. Yeah. And if you are somebody who feels the temptation of this dice rolled behind this piece of ruin. First of all, use a dice tray. Stop that.
You remember that time that I actually had you try my dice to see what happened, why I was rolling bad? I was consistently rolling like 1s and 2s, and then I'm like, pick up this dice right now. Pick it up. And then you pick it up and roll a 6 right up the bat.
I cannot believe you just stopped my
I know, but I don't know why that came into my mind. But
I can't believe you just stopped my
rage.
Simone Biles-esque dismount.
Oh, whatever.
For that little anecdote.
I'm going to let you finish, but Beyonce had the best album of all time.
George Bush hates... Wait.
Oh, my gosh.
We've been too hard on Kanye.
Oh, man.
We need him back just for those moments. Anyway.
Continue.
If somebody is dedicated to that level of skullduggery, you got to address it, and if they double down, you got to just ostracize that individual. They need a different hobby. They need to do something else. But where I was dismounting is if you have rolled a die behind a ruin, saw it was a 1, and thought to yourself, I'm going to say it was a 3. I encourage you to take a step back and say to yourself, the answer is always, I'm not going to do that. No matter the circumstance, you make that decision before. You don't make that decision in the moment when I need a 4 to save my whole game. That thing rolls behind the ruin. It's a 1. Because right then in that moment, the temptation could be too great. You decide now, listening to my voice, come, kneel before come up front, my children, and give your life to the God Emperor, and with him you shall be protected and guided by his hand.
Unless you're a psyker.
But make that decision now, that if it ever comes up, if the temptations of the warp should come to you, like they did Magnus, like they did.
Don't be arrogant.
That's right. Make the decision ahead of time, before you're in your hour of need, that you're not going to be like
you're not a simp.
The Nurgle guy.
Be a Sigma.
Who's
You mean Mortarian?
Mortarian.
Mortarian.
You're not going to be like Mortarian in your hour of need. You could go down like a man.
Yeah.
Playing a board game, which isn't all that important at the end of the day. I've been Shane.
And I'm Casey.
We're over time, so we'll save our Space Marine segment for next week. We talk about things that we love about Games Workshop, because we want some free stuff and have not got it yet.
And we'll shill out as many times as we can to get it.
Oh, could you imagine if they paid us to do this?
Oh, boy.
We would be insufferable. We'll see you next time.
Stay fanatical, folks.